Assassin's Creed Shadows sales numbers are out, and Ubisoft is dead. And I see you there smiling. Why are you smiling? This is horrible. Think about all those loser, woke activist devs that are gonna now lose their pathetic and stupid jobs because of their own life choices and decision making. How dare you be happy about that? Well, in any way, my fellow lovely chuds and Hitler body pillow enthusiasts, pat yourselves on the back because we did it. Oh, yes, it is official. Assassin's Creed Shadows sales are out, and it's way worse than you think. Granted, I will say one thing before we start. My patented way of figuring out Steam sales numbers seems to be exactly on point, boys. Mwah. Every time the Steam sale numbers get revealed, and there we go. We're exactly in the money, boys. We are in the black. 10 out of 10, okay? Anyway, 2 months ago, Ubisoft launched another quadruple A title. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't call this a quadruple A title because keep in mind, the CEO of Ubisoft came out with Skull and Bones. Yes, that 400 million disaster that was actually supposed to cost them nothing big, but that cost 400 million because Ubisoft is a ridiculously shitty company. Yes, that game. That game. The Ubisoft CEO called it a quadruple A title, and then, needless to say, everyone laughed in his face, okay? His wife, yes, surprisingly, he doesn't have a boyfriend. I don't know how that's impossible, but anyway, his wife probably even pointed in his face and laughed, okay? If he, God forbid, has kids, they probably said, I don't know this guy, I don't have a father. It is what it is. A title the CEO himself called Make or Break for the company. True, Assassin's Creed Shadows is without a doubt Ubisoft's most expensive game ever. And my estimate for Ubisoft, by the way, before we get into the actual numbers, was supposed to be that they are most likely estimating around minimum 10 million sales first year. Minimum. Not even first year, honestly. Probably first 3 months. 10 million sales. And most likely the break-even point should be around 15 million. Again, this should be Ubisoft's most expensive game that they have ever done. And they have failed so many times. Again, Skull and Bones, the previous Assassins. No, actually, that one did good. Star Wars Outlaws. There's so many failures under Ubisoft's belt. It's actually kind of crazy. And, well, let's go into the actual numbers. Within days, Ubisoft proudly announced 3 million players, and we knew this was bad because whenever you use the word players, not buyers or sales or whatever, you know this number is way, way, way lower than anything. Or 3 billion if you count Ubisoft plus glorious DRM poising as a game launcher, which is hilarious. Ubisoft celebrated, declaring their god's greatest gift to mankind had shattered all gaming records. True, people. I mean, some Ubi shills are still saying that this is a thing, but this is the circle jerk of being a woke activist in the gaming sphere. A game comes out, let's take, I don't know, South of Midnight, for example, literally dies in less than 2 hours because it doesn't even sell 5 copies. And the shills are like, so what it didn't make any money? So what it didn't sell any copies? So, sell any copies? Am I retarded? Yes. Sell any copies? So what no one talks about it? So what no one likes it? This is a success. The woke crowd's bar for success has been lowered so much you don't even know that there's actually a bar anymore. That's how bad things honestly are. But it gets worse, obviously. Yet no one knew the actual sales numbers. Now 2 months later we finally have the numbers, and they are brutal. PS5, 1.7 million copies sold since launch. And by the way, I'm surprised about this. This is probably the hardcore player base, I guess, for these games. That's 1.7 million players. That is the hardcore super fan base for Assassin's Creed. Because when I first heard, because I don't remember where this was, but there was a lot of speculation that, and these numbers, by the way, kind of confirmed that speculation, that 80% of all sales of Assassin's Creed happen on PlayStation and only 20% on uh, computers. And that kind of always honestly seemed super fucking wild to me. But these numbers do kind of corroborate this thing, you know? Uh 1.7 plus 3.6, that's 2.1. Divide how big of a pie each of these bad boys has. Well, yeah, you pretty much have your 20% on PS, which is kind of amazing, honestly. I did not believe that. I still think that we're gonna find out news that these numbers are some way uh fake. I I I think we're still gonna have news like a couple of months later down the line that the PlayStation 5 sales numbers are faked in some way. That this number isn't actually truly legitimate. A PC, 367k copies sold on Steam in the first 2 weeks after sales plummeted so hard. Yes, uh, this is the new reality of gaming that we're talking about. A lot of people were bringing up the fact that if you look at previous Assassin's Creed games and how they were doing, like, the Rome one, the other one, the whatever fucking one, Odyssey and whatnot, all of those, that this meant if you compare Assassin's Creed Shadows sales, if we believe the numbers at that time, to those games, that Assassin's Creed Shadows was on its way to sell literally 20 million copies and probably peak out at something near 50 million. But this is no longer the case. If Assassin's Creed came out like 5, 10 years ago and it had these numbers, it would be accurate. But nowadays, the gaming landscape has extremely shifted. Because there's so much buzz about every game, okay? Every AAA game that looks like a woke piece of trash, you have people like me and countless others talking about it, bringing discussion around it, and, things of that nature. So now the first week of sales is extremely a high spike usually. This is the type of world we live in now. Usually it was a steady decline in sales, but now no longer. It's like a huge peak of sales and then the dip in sales is dramatic. And this technically corroborates, now not technically but fully corroborates that, which is honestly insane to hear. But again, this is this is business finance. I'm pretty good at that shit. After which sales plummeted so hard, it became difficult for game analysts to gather accurate data. Yeah, the data gathering is always fishy here, but again, also, the 367k copies sold on Steam is almost exactly as anticipated. I said, currently, with the current, everything that we see right here with Assassin's Creed Shadows, it looks like, best case scenario, AC Shadows has sold 600 copies on Steam, but most likely, considering it's a extremely problematic title, it has wokeness inside. People are talking about it bad, and everyone's making fun of it. Most likely, it is way below that. Most likely, the maximum 50% discount of the peak player base, which means that the sales could be around 300k. Now, personally, while the sales I believed could be around 300k, I did honestly expect like 420-ish k sold when we're finally gonna get the news. And you probably don't think that's a big deal, but the difference between 300k and 450k per se is actually 50%. That's 50% more sales. When you put it in percents, you notice it instantaneously. When you don't, it's like that. So this is technically 21.5% more than the minimum that I expected, which is technically good. technically good. But then again, this is this is like 66% below the actual average that you expect for PC sales for a game like this to have with a 60K player peak, which is abysmal. Okay, Ubisoft has no money. It's fucking over, okay? The 10-cent please save us from bankruptcy deal cannot happen faster at this point. Ubisoft is fucking dead. Assassin's Creed Shadows is not making any money. And something that keeps corroborating this news is the fact that Ubisoft is just coming out and saying, we're gonna make so many games, guys, in the future. We're gonna have this and that and this and that. There's a lot of news about it. So Ubisoft is trying so hard to now pretty much effectively illegally pump up their stock so something good probably happens. So the stockholders actually don't try to sue them to get to take the money from the please save us from bankruptcy 10-cent deal. Also, the 10-cent deal is it gives Ubisoft 10 million bucks. That's not for them to actually make shit. That's for them to pay off debt. The estimate, well, it's actually closer to 12 million because my estimation, if you have seen these videos previously about Ubisoft, was that Ubisoft is roughly at this point most likely close to 13 mil, not million, oops, billion, 13 billion in debt. Yeah. And well, seems the money Tencent gave Ubisoft to clear all of that shit. Seems that that is pretty much accurate as always. I know, hilarious. But yes, if you don't really understand the full context of what I'm saying about, because well, the average normal person probably doesn't fully grasp everything that I'm saying, but that's okay because this is specialized knowledge. You need to work in the industry, go to a fucking school that didn't teach you anything really, and all of that crap. But in the most simplest of terms, Ubisoft is beyond fucked. Assassin's Creed Shadows probably is a net negative of 400 million. Just exactly, probably close to the exact level as Skull and Bones. Okay. Xbox, no exact numbers, but it's the worst performing among the three platforms. Yes, we watched the Xbox player count by Xbox own official website to see how many players it has. Assassin's Creed Shadows never, day one of the release, did not even break into the top 20, the top 30. I think it was like the top 30 or something. It did not even breach top 30. And Xbox live player statistics are roughly like this. Best case scenario, the 10th position most played game on Xbox has an average of 3 to 10k players. And that is being very, very generous. And Assassin's Creed did not get in the top 30 most played games day one of release. Day two of release, it wasn't in the top 50. It wasn't the bestseller. It wasn't in anything. No one gave a shit any longer. And day three, no, nothing changed. The relevant doesn't suddenly become relevant for no reason, right? So, on Xbox, maybe it sold 30k copies. Who honestly fucking knows at this point? But it's not looking good, and that's even probably a gross overestimation of what they're capable of. Worst performing among the three platforms. So to be generous, assume it's matching. No, there's no way. Again, there's no way. I followed this shit. It's not even close. That bridges a total of 2 million copies sold across all platforms. Put that into perspective. A Ghost of Tsushima sold that many copies in just 3 days. Yeah, and it was a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah. Even Assassin's Creed 1, a game from 19 years ago, sold 2.5 million copies in its first month. Yeah. Uh-huh. Ubisoft will post their earnings today in the next few hours. What do you think? They're not gonna talk about the performance of Assassin's Creed. They're gonna say it's performing good because, again, the game has changed. You can't compare Assassin's Creed Shadows sales now to what previously has been with Odyssey and Valhalla. Those were the two names that I spaced out on. It doesn't work like that. Unless you really want to believe that Assassin's Creed Shadows is like on fucking way to sell 50 million copies. It needs to sell probably at least 50 million copies to break even. It's so dead. Again, listen, the shareholders, as I said many times before, are not going to allow Ubisoft to just make the deal with Tencent because that deal literally is just beneficial to Tencent and beneficial to the Gilmos. Everyone else that owns Ubisoft shares gets fucked in the ass really hard. And that's illegal in Europe. That may be legal in America, but that's illegal in Europe. And considering they're getting sued in Europe over this, and Tencent is a arm of the Chinese Communist Party, and Europe literally never rules favorably for them. Because that's it for this video, because yeah, everyone can put 2 plus 2 together. Ubisoft is fucked so hard. I mean, there's nothing left for Ubisoft. It's dead. It's out. It's over. Anyway, bye bye.